Hi everyone, my name is Agnes Kitumba. I'm a married woman, mother of 5, and I live in Kampala, Uganda. We were mainly raised by my dad, and as a young girl, of course, he had dreams for me, and he always wanted me to be a doctor, which growing up, that was forced onto me, but as I evolved, I found my path in other things. Fast forward, I did a bachelor's of procurement and logistics at the university, and I was assured that when I walk out of that university gate, I'm going to get this high-end job in a very huge company, because I was told procurement was for multinationals. It took me about 8 months to even find a placement for my internship. And as I struggled between trying to get the internship placement, I landed on a small company that took me in with open arms. The owner was called Elizabeth, and they were just starting out. So I joined Seco as an intern who was basically there, get an internship and run off. And with 2 months of working with these women who were making shoes, being empowered by their work, I got drawn away and more motivated to be a part of creating opportunities for women. My entrepreneurship journey began when I realized that actually I cannot just source for a job in a multinational company, but I can actually be a part of that job creation. We are targeting people who are choosing to say, I want to purchase and to have my purchase make a difference in this world. I'm in leather and textiles, and we are looking at how can we sustainably turn leather for it not to be a waste to our environment. How do we work as a recycling industry to the beef industry? I like to say, as long as we have sisters and brothers who are meatlicious, don't Google it, it's not in the dictionary, but people who like meat, the hides and skins will always be there. Me and my company, we come in to use the hides to make beautiful and functional products and connect our consumers to the whole process. At Arise Collection, my company, we walk this journey with others. We're in 2 different organizations. If you look at me and Aisha, the founder of iProfile, all our journeys are different, but they are pursuing the same mission: creating thriving communities. She's doing it through settling refugees. I'm doing it through manufacturing a product. So what do I urge to young entrepreneurs? Can you find these communities where you can thrive, where you can learn, where you can tap into each other's energies? Today I'm low, Aisha lifts me up. The next day I'm very excited. Eve is the excitement controller. So we really need one another to thrive in this entrepreneurship journey. If you want to go far, you walk alone. But if you want to go farthest, you go in a group. One African proverb says so. Fundraising as an African woman doesn't come easy. And as a Ugandan woman, it makes it harder. However, I don't focus on the challenges. I focus on how do I present my opinions to the table where these funds are. How do we make it easy for funders to believe in our businesses? Setting our legal registration right, having the right documentation, and it is key to always tap into the right funding. Not every funding is for you, my dear entrepreneur. Not every funding. But how do you know the right funds that your business needs is key. And when do you know you need funding? Those are questions an entrepreneur has to answer. And how much? Sometimes too much money is bad for a business, and sometimes too small money is bad for a business. Those are questions I always apply as an entrepreneur before I go into any funding option. Do we need money? How much? And when? And from whom? Those are always key questions to look into as an African woman entrepreneur before you go out. But if you talk about funding, it's hugely and massively available. Arise Collections is a social enterprise business that works with Ugandan women from different walks of life, mainly the disadvantaged. We bring them in our workshop. They manufacture the beautiful leather bags, leather shoes, jewelry, apparel, and we sell them to international markets. Our lowest moments have been, how can a full profit business merge the impact we want to create? And remember, you're going back to tap into people's lives, and you're trying to use a commodity to do that. On the other hand, you don't want to sell it expensively because you're trying to solve a social issue. You want to compete favorably with other brands, but then you have a mission. So to me, those have been some of the low moments where I want to get profits and just pour them into the social impact. And then the rules of the financial books are saying, it can't work. And then you're like, okay, can we just go back and register as an NGO? And you're like, no. As an entrepreneur, I want to run a social enterprise. So balancing the impact and the profit, to me, has always been one of those moments that I get hit really hard and have to think through, how do I sell the boat through these two important aspects to my business. You're only good as your team is. You're only best or better if your team is best as well. And for us at Arise Collections, we nurture the people we work with. And we've come up with a set of values that hold us. One of them is we're a family. We treat that highly. We win and lose together is one of our second values. And that means if I've failed at my top managerial role, or the 20 women I work with have failed, we also bring it back to them and say, you were supposed to cut that leather and stitch it into a bag. If you don't do it so well, I've failed as a person. We've nurtured a culture that lets them know they are valued at work, and whatever affects them affects us as a company. And we outwardly live this through our values and how we work. When a woman gives birth at Arise, we celebrate that baby. And that baby has to come to work before the mother begins her maternity leave days. So we've created a community of sisters, both at the workshop and even with our consumers. We have a global community, mainly in the US, that sells our products, and we call it the sisterhood, because it's not just about you buying this bag or this pair of sandals. It's about understanding that your purchase matters. Just like when I put in a lot of work, when Justine at the workshop stitches this bag for you, it matters to her that it has to be a high-end, functional, quality bag. Balancing work life, marriage, children, and social life requires any woman entrepreneur to have a big support system. This is from friends, mothers, girlfriends, boyfriends, man friends, your church, your mosque. Your social capital really comes key in how you juggle through this. There are times I've had to travel and leave my husband with all the kids, and that calls for a very understanding partner that you choose. So how we choose companions in our life matters, from your husband or your wife to the circle of friends that you have around you. There are times we have to call our neighborhood and say, hey, Robert, can you get in that car and help me pick up my children? It's because we've developed trust that our neighborhood can pick us up when we are low. Not only looking after the children, there are times you're really melting down from work, life, studies, the company's not working, and it's going to be your hood. So I like what Kayana is doing, bringing women together from different aspects of life to just walk this journey and balance it out. There are a number of efforts that are being done to empower and support women journeys. And I believe it's not going to take one body. It's not going to take one company. It's going to take a collective collaboration. Well, we are in a global village, and that means we have to be interlinked in some way, starting from product development, rules and regulations, and science and technology is key. We need to have more women in the IT section. We need to have more tech women, and this will enable them leverage on the huge opportunities that are involved when you have your business into ITC. We sell mainly our products online. We run an e-commerce platform. That's www.arise collections limited, and we're showing Ugandan women that you can have your product manufactured downtown in Kampala and shipped to your customer onto their doorstep in New York, in London, in Heathrow, in Berlin. And that's how powerful IT is. And we don't want the empowerment journey to leave women in the IT. So the regulatory bodies need to come on board and sensitize women on the importances of being IT savvy and how their businesses can grow. Right now we are getting funding from the US without having to fly to go there and pitch and get the money. You're in Uganda and you're talking to investors in New York, and the money is finding you in Uganda. That's what we need for every woman. Mentorship is key. And if you stop learning, you stop growing. And when you stop growing, what happens? You die. So mentors are key. And I do have mentors in my marriage life, in my work life, in my career life. I do have mentors. And these people help to bring you up afloat when you're sinking. There are times I just want to get my bag, only my bag, not even the company laptop, and go home because I'm so done with Arise. And then you call your mentor and you're like, do you know what, Dr. Brenda? I'm done. And she's like, okay, I'm meeting you tomorrow at 10 a.m. in your office. And she just pours life into you and into the business. And that gets you going. There are times you feel like this marriage can't work. I'm the wrong one, you know? And then that mentor in your relationship also gives you life. So mentorship is key, and I highly recommend it. We need, as women, to create vertical and horizontal linkages. Sometimes it's going to be hard to create them as an entrepreneur. That's why we need partnerships from different organizations like the Candid Conversations, like checking out what AGOA has, products manufacturers here to the consumers in the US and EU, and locally it's in my own country. It's something that is starting to come up, where women are starting to interlink and hold one another's arm. As African women, we need to do this much more, and I feel that's where the heart is, or the focus should be, that when you talk about production, we can produce. When you talk about bringing a community together, we can. But how do we bring this connection together, from the woman at the top to the woman still in the village weaving her baskets, to create that linkage? Personally, my opinion is that it has been seen as a manly job, where it's meant to do the middleman, to do the trading, and we are coming out to empower women that you can actually do it. You can actually go talk to this man and they teach you the skills. At our company, we mainly hire women. One of the things we proudly and openly teach them is that we are not against the men. No. And that stereotype of, okay, we are walking this empowerment journey as women and we don't need the men, I think that's where we're getting it wrong. We always need someone who has been there to come back and teach. So we need more men in the entrepreneurship journey than women, because these men are now coming back and telling us, okay, I've been trading in China for these many years. Here's the manual. Read, edit, revive, produce another edition. And that's what we need. Collaboration in all circles. No one size fits all. And all businesses work. Who makes them work? You. Pick that one business, stick by it, learn all that there is about it, have a support system, and leave the rest to God.